All right, so Babylon, huh? Looks like we've got a pretty interesting mix of sources for this one. We've got ancient texts, archaeological reports, even some modern cultural stuff. Should be interesting to see what we find.
Yeah, definitely. You know what's really interesting right off the bat? The name Babylon itself.
Oh, really?
Well, it's always been interpreted as Gate of the Gods, in Akkadian.
Makes sense. It was a pretty important religious center, right?
Exactly. But some scholars think that that translation might actually be a later interpretation.
Oh, so it's like a cover version.
Yeah, kinda, like a remix of an even older name.
Fascinating. So what did the original name mean?
Well, there are some theories out there. Some think it might have meant something like shining or white.
And then you've got the Hebrew Bible.
Right. The Hebrew Bible connects Babel to the word for confusion.
Ah, yes, the Tower of Babel story. Classic tale of ambition overreaching and... But before we get into all that, let's talk about the actual city itself. I mean, archaeological site is massive, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Huge. Over 2,200 acres, temples, palaces, walls so thick.
Really? How thick are we talking?
I think they could even have buildings on top.
Buildings on top of the walls. That's crazy. What were those for?
Well, that's something archaeologists are still trying to figure out. They could have been anything, really. Housing for guards, administrative offices, maybe even religious structures.
Wow. It's amazing to think about the scale of it all.
Yeah. And we actually have accounts from ancient writers like the Greek historian Herodotus.
Herodotus.
Right, I've heard of him.
He actually described these wall-top buildings in his writings. Gives us some insight into just how complex this city was. And of course, then you have the Ishtar Gate.
Oh, yes. The Ishtar Gate with all the blue tiles and the incredible depictions of dragons and bulls.
Exactly. Those weren't just there for decoration. They were symbols of the god Marduk. I remember seeing pictures of the Ishtar Gate. Breathtaking. It really is. And, you can actually see a reconstruction of it in the Pergamon Museum in Berlin.
Wow, I'll have to add that to my travel list. But before we get lost on all the monumental architecture, I'm curious about Babylon's beginnings. It wasn't always a superpower, was it?
No, not at all. It started out as a small town, actually, first mentioned way back in the 23rd century BC.
The 23rd century BC. Wow. So it was part of the Akkadian Empire then?
Right, under Sargon of Akkad.
And then, so how did this small town transform into the heart of a vast empire?
Well, it was a gradual process shaped by power shifts, ambitious rulers. You know how it goes.
Yeah, the constant ebb and flow of power. But was there one particular leader who really put Babylon on the map?
You could say that, yeah. A king named Hammurabi.
Hammurabi. He was an Amorite ruler who really transformed Babylon, made it into a major power. And from then on, southern Mesopotamia became known as Babylonia, with Babylon as its capital.
Quite a legacy. And his law code is still studied today, one of the earliest examples of written law.
Exactly. Hammurabi was a brilliant strategist and a shrewd ruler. His reign really marked a turning point.
But empires don't last forever. What happened after the old Babylonian Empire declined?
Well, Babylon's story is really one of resilience. It faced invasions, revivals, challenges from the Assyrians and others, but it always seemed to bounce back.
Sounds like it had 9 lives.
Yeah, you could say that. And then there's the Neo-Babylonian Empire, really intriguing period.
Isn't that the era of Nebuchadnezzar II? The one who built the Hanging Gardens?
Yeah, he was a prolific builder, expanded and beautified the city on a grand scale, and the Hanging Gardens, although their exact location is still debated, are often attributed to his reign.
I've always been fascinated by the Hanging Gardens. Such a legendary wonder.
One of the 7 wonders of the ancient world.
It's hard to imagine them now. Just a whisper of what they once were.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the story of Babylon's downfall. It really captured people's imaginations for centuries.
I can see why. It's a dramatic story.
The way Cyrus the Great of Persia conquered Babylon, it's a classic example of military strategy.
What did he do?
Well, he diverted the Euphrates River during a festival, allowed his troops to sneak right into the city.
Wow. That's incredible.
Hey.
Like something out of a movie.
Right. And even after that Babylon story didn't end, it continued to play a role under Alexander the Great, various Persian empires, even briefly under the Romans.
It's amazing how this one city had such a long and complex history.
And what I find most fascinating is its cultural legacy. It's not just an archaeological site, it's become this powerful symbol.
A symbol? In what way?
Well, it shows up in so many different contexts. In the Bible, it represents pride, ambition, the consequences of those things.
Tower of Babel, right.
Exactly. But in reggae music, it's associated with oppression, the systems that keep people down.
I never thought about it that way.
And in science fiction, you have Babylon 5, a space station where different cultures come together, for better or worse.
So it's almost like Babylon acts as this mirror, reflecting our own hopes and fears.
That's a great way to put it. It reflects our fascination with power, our anxieties about the future, our desire for connection across differences.
It's incredible to think about how this one ancient city can still hold so much meaning for us today.
It really is. And it makes you wonder what those ancient Babylonians would think if they could see how their city is remembered and reinterpreted across time.
I wonder.
It really makes you think what they would make of it all, doesn't it?
It does. While we're on the subject of the ancients, I can't help but think about those clay tablets they found at the site.
Oh, yeah. The cuneiform tablets.
Those must be a treasure trove of information. What kind of stories do they tell us?
Oh, all sorts of things. We have royal inscriptions, boasting about the achievements of kings like Hammurabi and
Yes,
Nebuchadnezzar.
of course. Epic tales of conquest and glory.
Exactly. But we also have legal documents, contracts, even personal letters.
Wait, personal letters? Like from regular people?
Yep. Everyday Babylonians writing to each other about their lives. It's really quite remarkable.
Wow. So we can get a glimpse into their daily routines, their hopes and dreams.
Precisely. We learn about family dynamics, business transactions, love affairs. It really humanizes them.
It's amazing how these little details can bring a whole civilization to life.
It really is. And it makes you realize that people haven't really changed that much over time. They faced similar challenges, celebrated similar joys, and grappled with the same fundamental questions about life and death.
And speaking of fundamental questions, their religious beliefs must be fascinating. I know they had a whole pantheon of gods and goddesses, right?
Oh, yeah. Their religion was incredibly complex and deeply intertwined with every aspect of their lives.
So it wasn't just about rituals and temples. It permeated their everyday existence.
Exactly. Everyone from the king to the commoner participated in rituals and offerings to appease the gods. And Marduk, the patron deity of Babylon, held a particularly prominent place.
Marduk, right. The one we see on the Ishtar Gate. What else can you tell me about him?
Well, Marduk was a pretty big deal in Babylonian mythology. He was associated with creation, justice, magic, you name it.
He was like the Superman of their pantheon.
Yeah, kind of. He was believed to have vanquished the forces of chaos and established order in the universe. His temple, E Sigilla, was a major center of worship, a place of pilgrimage.
It's fascinating how these ancient beliefs shaped their entire worldview.
It's incredible, isn't it? And they had this massive New Year celebration called the Akitu Festival in honor of Marduk.
I've heard of that. Wasn't there some kind of symbolic reenactment of creation involved?
You got it.
Yeah.
It was a huge deal, a time for renewal, reaffirming the cosmic order.
Sounds like quite the party.
It was, and the king himself played a crucial role, demonstrating his piety and connection to the divine.
So it was as much about politics as it was about religion.
Absolutely. Religious devotion and social cohesion, a way to bring everyone together and reinforce the existing power structure.
It's remarkable how advanced the Babylonians were in so many areas. Their architecture, law, astronomy.
Oh, yeah. They made some incredible contributions. Take their astronomy, for example. They were meticulous observers of the heavens, able to predict eclipses with amazing accuracy.
I've also read that they had a concept of zero, something that wasn't widely adopted in the West for centuries.
Their mathematical innovations were groundbreaking. They used a base 60 system, which is why we still divide an hour into 60 minutes and a circle into 360 degrees.
It's incredible how their knowledge continues to influence us today.
It's a reminder that history is not just a collection of dusty old facts. It's a living, breathing tapestry of interconnected threads, each one shaping the next.
And yet, for all we know about them, there are still so many mysteries surrounding the Babylonians, like the Hanging Gardens, for example. We're still not even sure if they actually existed or where they were located.
Exactly. And that's what makes studying history so exciting. There's always something new to discover, new interpretations to consider.
Even though Babylon itself is in ruins, it continues to fascinate and inspire us.
It's a reminder that even the mightiest empires eventually fade, but their impact can echo through millennia.
It makes you think about the legacy we're creating today and how it might be interpreted in the future. It's a humbling thought, isn't it? What would those ancient Babylonians think if they could see their city now? A UNESCO World Heritage Site, tourists from all over the globe.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. They'd probably be shocked to see how their story's been told and retold over the
How
centuries.
it's taken on so many different meanings.
Yeah. In some cases, it's a symbol of oppression, in others, cultural exchange. Even a cautionary tale about unchecked ambition.
Really shows you how history is always being reinterpreted, right?
Exactly. It's not static, it's a dynamic process. Perspectives evolve, new insights emerge.
And what about the city itself? What do you think they'd make of the ruins?
Hmm. I imagine it would be a mixed bag. Maybe a sense of pride in their lasting legacy, but also a touch of sadness, seeing it in its current state.
Yeah, the passage of time. Even the grandest creations eventually crumble.
It's true. But even in ruins, Babylon speaks volumes. It sparks our curiosity, invites us to piece together its story, reminds us of the cyclical nature of civilizations.
You know, as we wrap up this exploration of Babylon, I'm struck by how much there is to learn from the past. It's not just about dates and facts, but about understanding the human experience across time and cultures.
Absolutely. Studying history allows us to step outside of our own time and place, to broaden our perspectives, to gain a deeper appreciation for the complexities of human civilization.
And for anyone listening who wants to learn more, there's a wealth of resources out there. Books, articles, documentaries, even virtual tours of the site.
The possibilities for exploration are endless, and with each new discovery, our understanding of Babylon continues to evolve.
It's a reminder that there's always more to uncover, more to learn, more to ponder.
Exactly. Babylon's story is far from over. It continues to intrigue us, challenge us, and inspire us to contemplate the enduring legacy of the past.
Well, on that note, it seems we've reached the end of our journey through ancient Babylon. But I have a feeling this won't be our last encounter with this fascinating city.
I doubt it. Babylon's story is far from over. It continues to intrigue us, challenge us, and inspire us to contemplate the enduring legacy of the past.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep that spirit of curiosity alive.